Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina. Folks, we're going to start the show off today with a PQ. I've got a lot going on and I've got some really wonderful folks. I've got a woman by the name of Susie Slater who's going to be my guest to talk to me about something pretty amazing that she's doing. And also I've got my first responder of the month, Captain Craig Spiller from Lancaster Fire Department. But before we get to them, like I said, I've got my positive quote. My positive quote this week is, "Every day is a new beginning. Take a deep breath, smile, and start again, because you've got this and you can do it." And don't go anywhere. And oh, before I do get into my next segment, I want to let you know, and before we get to the break, I can be found on YouTube, CLN, Your Hometown Connection, Down Home with Tina. Also, my Facebook page is Down Home with Tina. And I've got a website and I've got to do more blogs. I'm going to take time to do more blogs. I've got some fun stories on there of some things I've done in the past that I hope you enjoy. Some that are going to be on there that you can read if you've been there before, and that's downhomewithtina.com. Most importantly, I hope you enjoy the show I've got coming up. Like I said, Susie Slater. I'll be back in just a minute. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm a recovering addict. For 10 of the last 11 years, I've been struggling with addiction, homelessness, incarceration, and just loneliness. However, since getting clean this past year, I've accomplished more than I have in those 10 years combined. After attending outpatient counseling services, inpatient counseling services, living in a sober living house, and attending 12-step meetings, I've been able to regain control of my life and begin to achieve goals I've always dreamed of. Addiction can destroy lives in many ways. Whether you need help with childcare or financial assistance, everyone deserves a new beginning. Recovery supports are just that, supports for recovery. My life mattered. Your life matters too.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. First time I've got Susie Slater with me. It is something that I saw on her Facebook page that she had posted several months back, and I was just like, oh, so inspired by it, and I thought, oh my goodness. And then I stopped into Slater's Hardware one day, and then I saw Steve there, and then we got into a conversation. And Susie, it still took me another couple of months before I actually made the connection with you. I was like, goodness gracious, what is going on with me? What has taken me so long? She's going to have a baby and it's going to be like an adult before you know it. But what she is here for is, it's called Save Families for Children, and it's a nonprofit organization, and it is something that we're going to find out why she became a part of it and what has led her to want to be so involved, and what maybe she is doing to help others in our very own community to be involved as well. What is Safe Families for Children, Susie?
So Safe Families for Children is they work with churches because of the heart of churches of getting enough volunteers to make this this program work. When there's a family in crisis, let's say there's a single mom that has a health issue and she doesn't have family or community to be able to call on to watch her children, or if she loses her job and loses her home. Those are a couple of instances. She would call Safe Families for Children. The host family through Safe Families for Children would take the children, and then the mom would get a coach. If she's lost her job and lost her home, she would get a coach that helps to coach her along, to find a new job, to find a new place to live, and then make it safe for the children to come home. So a lot of people ask if it's foster care. We call it hosting. Usually the average is 6 weeks, sometimes shorter. It could be longer, but the average is 6 weeks.
Okay, and what ages are the children that?
They can be anywhere from newborn to 18.
And that is something that you are, because you're looking to host a child as a newborn, correct? Is that right?
Well,
or maybe?
That's what we had planned, but you know, sometimes God has different plans. So, you know, it was on my heart from where this kind of started stirring 22 years ago, was that my neighbor would take in newborn babies that were going to be adopted, and she would watch them until the adoption process went through. And I told my husband 22 years ago, I'm going to do that one of these days. And he said, okay, okay. And we had our own children, you know, and when it came, as our kids got older, you know, I started looking into it and really felt like it was a calling. More than something that I just wanted to do, I felt like it was a calling. And so I started calling the organizations that she had worked with, and they don't offer that anymore. How agencies usually work now is they keep the children in the hospital until they're ready to go to the adoptive family, or they usually have that process, you know, in line before the baby's born. But sometimes the adoptive family can take the newborn child as the process is going through if they've gone through the certain parameters for that. But through my phone calls, someone introduced me to Safe Families for Children. And so I called Safe Families for Children several years ago, learned more about them. But we still had a teenager in the home, you know, our last one. And I just thought, oh, maybe now's not quite the right time. And so then, you know, put it on hold. And then I started having that stirring again, you know, maybe now, maybe now. And I have a cool story that I was on my way to a doctor's appointment in Columbus one day, and all morning I just kept feeling rushed, you know, like I need to hurry, I'm going to be late, I need to get this done, and I'm going to be late if I don't hurry. And I got in the car to leave for the appointment, and I realized I am not going to be late, I am going to be early. Like I'm going to be really early. Like what am I going to do when I get there? I don't have a book to read or anything. But I was driving on 33, and I got close to before you get on 70 to go down downtown or to Columbus, and I was on my way to the High State area. And I saw a little girl getting ready to cross the highway. And, you know, I'm coming up to a stoplight. I thought, no. Actually, I didn't think it. I think I was saying it out loud. Pulled my car over, got out of the car, asked her, you know, there were apartments there. She was getting ready to cross the highway, I assumed, to go to the gas station. And so we walked back to the apartments, and not thinking, you know, I just wanted to find, who does she belong to?
Right.
Where does this little girl live?
Get her safe.
Yes. I can't put her in my car, and where would I take her? And, you know, all these things are going through my head, and you know, I knocked on, I said, is this your apartment? She was about 3. And
oh my goodness,
it was cold outside, no shoes, no coat. It was March, I believe. No shoes, no coat, had her dog with her. Asked her if this, you know, is this your apartment? Because I picked the first one that had toys on the patio. And knocked on the door, no one came. And then I thought, okay, she's only about 3 or so. So I said, is this your apartment? Pointed to a different apartment. And I thought, oh no, she doesn't even know which door is hers. So we walked around, because I kept thinking any moment someone's gonna come out their door yelling for their child, and no one came. And this went on for, I mean, it seemed like forever. It was probably 5-7 minutes. And then I thought, how confident are you going to feel if someone does say, oh yes, that's my child? And so I knew what I needed to do. So I walked over to my car with her, and I got my cell phone, and I called the police. And a truck driver had seen everything happening, and he had also called. So there was a police officer right there.
Oh, good.
And I mean, I was able to say, oh yes, I see a police officer right here.
Yes.
So he came and took her. And then I drove, you know, I was all shooken up and just thought, I'll never know what happened and, you know, if she's okay and what came about. And I drove another, you know, probably 25 minutes on the highway. So it wasn't like it was around the corner. But I get to my doctor's appointment and I just broke down and told my doctor, you know, what had happened. And I said, I'll just never know. The next week, I went back to that appointment and my doctor said, Susie, I have to tell you something. One of my patients is a foster parent, and last week she asked if I had any size 4 clothes for a little girl that she had gotten in for foster care that was picked up crossing the highway.
Total goosebumps right now.
I mean, like, oh my goodness, I tell that story.
Oh my goodness.
Because that was God telling me she's going to be okay. Oh. And so in that moment, I told Steve, I said, okay, I know this is something I'm supposed to do. I am supposed to do something with children. It's no longer, this is what I want to do. It's not, I mean, of course I want to do it. It was, I mean, I've loved children since I was little, begging my mom to adopt children. But knowing that this is a calling, this is something I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
And so we started moving forward again with whether we were going to foster children through, you know, children's services, or if we were going to work with safe families. And we went to the training, and when we went to the I mean, I prayed before we went to the training, you know, let it be clear to me, who are we supposed to be working with? And we walked in and sat down for the training, and I couldn't stop crying. And that's not like me. I can't say that anymore, but I used to not be a crier. And just kept tearing up all day long. What I love about Safe Families is they're not just coaching families along. They are also discipling to them. They're sharing the gospel. They're building that community because they want the host families and the coaches to keep a relationship with those families in crisis afterward. Yeah. So we went through training. I thought that we would just be, we had put, because of what was on my heart about newborns, we had put that we would like to only take in newborn to a year old. I feel like that's turning a little bit, but I sat up in bed one day and smacked my legs and said, we need this in Fairfield County. I don't think that I am supposed to just take care of children. I think that I'm supposed to start this in Fairfield County. Yeah. And so, so that's where we're at now.
And we're going to come right back. I'm going to continue with Susie for just a couple more minutes. We're going to find out a little bit more about how you can maybe get involved as well. You're watching Down Home with Tina.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area, where the fountain is, and the memorials, and the flags, and all this stuff. And we looked around, and I said, there's our bank, right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here. They're conversant. Customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. Susie Slater is with me. She and her husband are going to be a host family for what is called Safe Families for Children. And she was just sharing the story, an awesome story. And we're going to go ahead and move to talk a little bit more about, so you could be a host family if you're interested in being one, but if not, there are other ways that folks can help out, because this is all voluntary, correct?
It is, it is. So beside the host family or the coach that is for the parents, there's also resource friends and family friends. And the resource friends are people that, you know, they might pick up diapers, or they might bring meals to the host family, things like that. Family friend is checking in, making sure that the host family is doing okay, and if there's any needs. And so, you know, it takes a village.
That's right. And it is all through the church, because I did go to the informational meeting that you did have, and hopefully there'll be more of those as time moves on, because we want this to be something that grows. And you were sharing with me that there were enough to get started for training.
Yes.
Correct?
So we're going to be having our first training in which you only need one training, but it's going to be in April. And once we have all of our volunteers, hosts and coaches need to go through the training. Once they go through the training, then we'll be ready to go once all the paperwork is done.
Susie, what kind of training is expected for the host family and the coaches to go through for folks who may be watching that want to try and
So it's much different than foster care. It is an 8-hour training done in one day. And then there's, you know, paperwork that needs to be done, background checks, things like that need to be done. And it's very simple.
And I love how it is all through the church. So that is where your resources are. That's where the family friends or family resources is going to come into place. Where if you, and you all as host families can also get maybe a break.
For sure.
You know, and that is your group and your support of, when I went to it, I was just so impressed with all of it. And I hope that there's a way that I can be involved as well, because though I'm not able to host, it doesn't mean that I can't also help these children and help these families to get to a better place.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. And it takes a village. It takes a church. It takes all of us, happy people, positive people, to maybe help a family get to where they would like to be. And that's on the, I don't say up and up, but in a good foundation again.
Right.
Because it just sometimes happens. What's the contact information?
So they can contact Phil Venrick at the Tree Church. And you don't have to be going to the Tree Church to be a part of Safe Families for Children, but Phil Venrick at the Tree Church.
And if you like to bake, or if you like to give things and buy things and go shopping, and you feel the need of stuff, I mean, that's another way of folks who just want to give. They go, we were shopping and my daughter's like, oh, Mom, I wish, and she said my son would have a baby. I'm like, he's not in a relationship. Don't bring that yet. We're not quite there yet. It's like, take that back. But this is the perfect. I was like,
there you go.
You could buy something, a nice blanket for somebody who might be, you know, sometimes you just feel the need and you have that urge. You just want to touch baby stuff.
And this smell the lotion.
Well, now you can buy it and give it. To those who are in need. Susie, thank you so much for your time, and you're such a blessing. And I'm so excited to hopefully get to see what, you know, through Facebook, what all you all are going to do and changing the lives in a positive way. Folks, I'll be back in just a minute. It's Down Home with Tina.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. This segment is brought to you by Bay Food Market. It is my first responder of the month, and I'm really excited because it was just really tough because some things happened, so my schedule had to change. So I typically did my show on a Friday, and then it was going to be on a Monday, and every time I was having it, Captain Craig Spiller from the Lancaster Fire Department just could not get here. And I was like, dag nabbit. And then he finally, it was the cutest thing, he sent me an email and he goes, "These are the days that I work."
Sometimes
said, yes.
Our schedules are pretty, every third day. So you were tied up on those, and then
every third day
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
hello,
you
come
work
on.
the same shift I am.
That's right, I was apparently. But anyways, here you are. So how many years have you been a firefighter?
I've been a firefighter for probably close to 30 years now. Started when I was 16 years old, volunteering on the east side of Cincinnati, and went to school and stayed here locally.
East side Cincinnati, what was it like down there compared to here?
It's very small. I live in Amanda now, so it
Yeah.
was very much like about the same size as Amanda.
Okay.
So I went to Hawken College, graduated from there, and worked up here in Lancaster and Logan, and then just stayed here. Liked it up here and built a family, and we love where we are now.
You said that's a long time. Are you looking for retirement?
Very soon. I
Don't
can give
know
you
yet.
an exact date, but it's going to be in about 6 years. How about that?
Okay, yeah. What's it been like? Why did you decide to be a firefighter?
Oh, that's, a lot of firefighters in my generation, we started watching television, and back in those days, Emergency was on television, and that was kind of my first dose of it. And I knew in my town, it was so small, when there was a fire, they had a fire siren, kind of like the tornado sirens are now.
Wow.
And every time that there was a fire, I would hear it and drive up to the end of the street to watch trucks go out. So when I turned 16, to get on, I was knocking at their door.
Was there anything that was really surprising to you after you became a firefighter that you didn't know about, that you had had, that was part of that occupation?
It's really like a second family. I spend so much time with the guys I work with and girls I work with that them, you know their kids, what they like or don't like, which is sometimes not good at the firehouse. So it's you have a second family, and that's a good thing. So
yeah. So have you had any kind of like highlight so far in your career?
In 2012, I was awarded the Brett Markwood Award.
Nice.
Which was a very great honor, Chief Award, and the EMA Director Coaches was put me in for that, as well as the Assistant Chief Jack Matlin at the time. So that was a big highlight for my career. Unfortunately, I was on vacation out of the country, and how old was my son at the time? He was probably 12. My oldest son, and then my younger son was probably 3 or 4 at the time. And so they got to go accept the award and give a little speech for me.
Oh, and what was that like for you, for your boys to do
actually,
that?
most of the guys there said that my 12-year-old son did a better job than I would have. So, but I got to see it in video and pictures and stuff like that. So it was a good time for everybody.
Captain Spiller, this is something that it was really heavy on my heart. This happened about, oh goodness, I would say within the last week, and I came across somebody that he resembled somebody that I knew years ago that I was in the military with, and this fella had his last name was on his coat, and it was the same name as this fella, and I thought, I wonder if he's his son. Well, no, he ended up, I asked him if he knew him, because I just do that with people. I'll just talk to anybody basically. Sure. And there was just such a strong resemblance. So I asked him, I said, do you know? And I said the name, and when somebody looks at you and you kind of go, okay, I think he does know. Yeah. And he did. He said, I said the name again, and he goes, yes. He told me the relation to him. And I was like, oh yeah, he would have been like 48 or something like that, because I thought he was about my age, a little younger. And he goes, he would have been. Okay, now the same look now is on my face. I'm just kind of like, oh no. And I just like stopped in my tracks, and he said he committed suicide a year ago, or last August. And I just, at that moment, and he told me what he did in his occupation, as a firefighter in a bigger city. And he actually said, I think that's what got him. And it reminded me of having a conversation when I did my ride along. That was one of the top reasons of deaths in firefighters. And I really truly believe that that conversation I had with that fella at that day was, and I knew you were coming on, and I thought, I wonder if I reach out to Chief Ward and I talk to Captain Spiller, if this is something that we can make our community and society be aware of, because you guys are our heroes and gals. There are gals also in the field that, and I knew this guy. I mean, I see him in my mind as we were 22 and hanging out. I mean, we were like brother and sister. It was the Army. And laughing and giggling and cracking me up and just being silly and goofy. And then I'm going, oh my gosh, if only. I'm thinking, if only if I was in his life, you know, like that would have made a big difference. But that's not it. It's us being aware of, maybe even just being aware of what we can do for our firefighters because of this. And I've talked to a couple of people since then, and they go, really? Whoa, well, I didn't know that. Because you're our heroes. How would we know that? So what can you share about that for us?
You know, we're really good at going out and solving problems. You know, people call us and we're trained and we can go and quickly and efficiently solve our customers' needs, but sometimes we're not the best trained at seeing issues in our colleagues or even ourselves. You know, you remember the big runs that you go on, you know, the house fires of people trapped and incidents with kids and stuff. But they're finding out now that it's a lot of the everyday runs that were going on, back to back to back, the constant runs that are really taking a toll on the crews. If you've ever heard the phrase, whenever you call the fire department or the paramedics to you, it's normally the worst day of your life.
Oh yes, something bad's happening. Yeah.
So they're finding it's the chronic repeated exposure to everyone's worst day that we are seeing on every run. So there's, you know, there's about a 5% higher likely chance of a firefighter having PTSD than the general population. The suicide rates are very similar to what the military is right now. In 2019, across the United States, there were 133 firefighters that committed suicide. And that same year, only 48 died in the line of duty. So for about the last 10 years, the suicide rate is far higher than the ones that are being killed in a house fire or returning to the scenes or responding to runs. And that's something that we're not really used to.
What kind of positive thing can we do? I'm sure you all are taking measures, of course, to help prevent that from happening. But what can we in society and community members do for our firefighters in general? Like,
you know, you see the crews at the stores, out and about. Just thank them. You know, tell them that you appreciate what they're doing. You know, like I said, it's everyone's worst day, and we understand that during that time that you know you're worried about what you need to be worried about, and we're worried about you. So when you're seeing them out there, wave at them. You know, tell them hello and things like that. Just little things. We really appreciate it. You know, people stop off and bring us some things at the firehouse, and you know, get to talk to them a little bit there, and that's always nice to see. It's a little bit different now with the COVID restrictions than it has been in the past. So that's cut down quite a bit, unfortunately. So.
Can they send cards, letters?
Absolutely.
Just
cards,
like I
letters,
just think teachers can have
emails
students
to the chief. You know, hey, if you had a good experience with, you know, this truck, I saw these guys out doing something, or they did a great job. Can you go to our website? There's a form on the website that you can see and post and tell us how we're doing.
And we have, and I'm thrilled that we do this. Teachers do things for the military, and they have kids write notes. Do it for our fighters as well. Do it for them. Let them know how valuable they are. You are my firefighter, first responder of the month, and I've got goodies in here, and I just talk a lot today. So we are going to have to go, but thank you so much for being one of those heroes, and thank you for sharing that great information. And there's Ava Jewelers, a certificate in there, Ireland Spa and Salon, and you can treat yourself, and then there's some cookies.
Great.
Because we got to have cookies.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I will have to get cookies over and find out what crew you're on. And we got to go. Thank you for all you do so much. And I got to go. Folks, have a great week. God bless. Good day.